All right, everybody. We are getting an Isle of Man opponent. Wow. That's pretty rare. Look at that flag. I could have sworn it was Tunisia, but Isle of Man. Anyways, Isle of Man is a very cool place to play chess. So um, there's a very famous tournament in that location that I never participated in though. But you never know. All right, so we're just going Jobava London. Why do we play Jobava London? Simply because we're making life kind of miserable for the enemy light square bishop. This is the biggest problem for black and why we play it. Because whenever he tries to have a normal life and play bishop f5, we get to pawn storm him. And other than that, well, if he restricts his own bishop, then it's just going to have light square prisoner. We're going to get usually free attack. So c6, I'm gonna do e3 first. Very important move order. You do e3, bishop d3 usually. Or yeah, if they do queen b6, that's a bit of a wild appearance. They don't do queen. They don't do this queen b6 very often. But I have my secret sauce ready for you. Are you ready? How do we defend? Rook b1 or queen c1? Or do you go b3? Well, none of that. And I promise this trick. Okay, my opponent is probably not gonna fall for it, but if you're playing this below like 1500, everybody will bite. And he. Oh no, dog. This is. This shouldn't be working like that. Knight a4. No. The queen is running out of air. It's just suffocating. That is why you don't take out your queen on an early journey. Okay. Well, I mean, Isle Man of is a very nice play to, play chess, but not for this person. He was born in the wrong location, apparently. Okay, all right. Isle of Man. I always wondered, are there any females on that island, or why is it named like this? Maybe that's a stupid question. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Castle. So we're just gonna play this game like we won a queen, and that's part of the standard procedure. Nothing strange happening. I'm just gonna open it up. We just need to like open up lines for our pieces, and the queen is gonna start to tell. Or at least hopefully. It would be pretty awkward to have an extra queen and not know how to win. Okay, a5. No frets. I'm gonna take. He cannot take this way because b5 drops, and if he takes this way, my bishop's kind of open. I can get active file. So yeah, I'm gonna activate the rook. Could play 95. Expecting some sort of rook e8. There it goes. Okay, so if we do the material count, he basically just has a rook for the queen. And in order to like break through, since I don't really see an obvious way to penetrate, I'm wondering whether maybe it's justified to do like a bishop takes on b5. With the idea that the way he has placed his pieces, it's not very easy to deal with this fork, and we also win a bunch of pawns in the process. So I'm thinking bishop takes, knight takes, threatening to fork. He goes bishop d8 to stop that. We have to trade rooks. Knight takes, and I don't know. That's pretty confusing. So this is also like simple move. Probably gonna be met by bishop b7. I mean, it's gonna be one no matter what, but bishop b5 could be the kind of move to like really make it easy. I think I'm gonna go for it. Just because the other things are not so obvious. So I wanna really put pressure, as much pressure as we can on him. Because yeah, it's easy, you have extra queen and sort of relax. But if you relax and he has pieces and pawns, you can get some random compensation. So I feel like this destabilizes him a little bit. He has to play bishop d8. And still, like if you do the material count, he has a rook and minor piece for queen and pawn. So yeah, previously it was for queen for rook and pawn, but yeah, now he didn't play bishop d8, so he allows the fork. But not only this is gonna be winning back the rook, but we managed to exchange and really unclog the bathtub in the process. So yeah, just took that about to win a bishop, so he resigned. So yeah, I love man. I was expecting better chess from my opponent, but all in all, I think we punished pretty well. Right, everybody, gonna be going for another white game. Just woke up, brushed my teeth like a good boy, and now it is time to play the Jobava London. So facing a 1700 rated opponent from Chile, and yeah, he goes bishop to f5. All right, now whenever black plays bishop to f5 against the Jobava London, you really want to remember that it triggers f3. So remember, Jobava London, very annoying for the enemy light square bishop, because whenever it goes out, black tries to have all active pieces. Well, we're just gonna start this pawn push, and yeah, let's see what it does. e6, gonna go g4, and yeah, can also play h4 after. Do not make the mistake of going h3 instead of f3. Some people do that at the beginning while trying to learn this, but it's definitely not as good because notice that if you do h3 g4, I mean, then you kind of have no follow-up. I've seen this mistake like happening many times. So you want to do f3, and now you get to push both pawns, and then you basically get this free tempo threatening to simply just trap the bishop. So my opponent plays h5, stopping that and threatening to take. So we're gonna push, solving that issue, releasing the tension, and okay, after 97 now, first part of the plan is ready. We have pushed the pawn storm. Now second part is to get castled. So for that, we go e3. Idea to go bishop d3, take with the queen, knight goes on e2, and we long castle. Now, as you're doing it, you want to be able to keep an eye for whenever black plays bishop d6, creating this pressure. You want to be able to take back on f4 with a knight. That is another very important key rule in the pawn storm. So, in order to do that, you have two moves, knight e2 or knight h3. So, ideally, you want to play knight e2, the knight heading towards the middle of the board, but it would be blocking the bishop. So for that reason, simply go knight h3 here, getting ready to take with a knight, while also keeping this option of playing bishop to d3 and just developing normally. This happens both if he plays with h5 or with h6. Just in general, if you remember this rule, it's gonna work out perfectly. So, okay, remember, we want to be taking on f4 with the knight in the pawn storm. Okay, very important. It has to be a pawn storm. You must have had pushed these pawns, because I noticed some people actually learn this rule and then they start applying it all the time. So it's important that you pretty much label it in your brain specific for that variation that you're playing, because I noticed, for instance, let's imagine after bishop f4, if black would have done something different like e6, we go e3, and on bishop d6, I noticed people, instead of playing knight f3 and allowing black to take on f4, we take with a pawn and we get the boa snake structure. Some people actually just play knight h3 there, trying to take back with knight, because they forget to label it in their brain as, okay, You want to take back on f4 with the knight in the pawn storm. So, yeah. Hopefully that kind of clarifies it and it didn't really make it even more confusing. So, knight c6, just developing move. Gonna continue the second part of the plan. We're gonna go bishop d3 and we'll try to get ourselves castled. And additionally, another nice little detail when black plays h5 and we have pawn on g5, we can actually also push this, trying to mess around with the enemy king if my opponent is not careful. So quite often it's best for them to do g6, but we'll see. I don't know if this idea made it to Chile. We'll see if Damiani will find it. So yeah, alternatively, I guess queen e7 or castle are two moves that could be likely to be played. Also, if knight b4, you just go queen back. That's never really an issue. I know that maybe some of you are having a little bit of anxiety, just the fact that, opponent can attack your queen. Well, that's like trying to go to the swimming pool and not mess up your hairstyle. So no, like at some point in chess, opponent will also attack your pieces and you'll just have to kind of learn how to deal with it. So yeah, no need to waste time on a move like a3 or anything like that. That would be a huge waste of time. And as soon as I say it, the opponent is listening, plays a6. Don't you love it? Isn't it pretty funny? Okay, I'm just gonna get castled. So, all right, we castled. Then what next? Do we resign? What's the next part of the plan? So, okay, normally before you start doing anything concrete, you need to do a little bit of an inventory in the possession, right? Before you go for the middle game plan, any like concrete ideas? Let's see what we have. So, all pieces are developed, knight on natural square, queen on d3, but it kind of screams that the knight is a little bit misplaced on h3. So for that reason, something like bishop takes on d6 only so that we can activate this knight, otherwise there's no point in taking. Could be a general idea to have. But if you remember, I told you g6. My opponent didn't defend against that. We're gonna play it. Also, you may be wondering, but Alex Ponce, you could have done that earlier. Why didn't you play g5 right away? Well, if you do it here, this is such a common mistake because people simply forget about the fact that black can take on h4 with check. And it's pretty annoying. So, no, I just castle first and then g6. Now, I don't really care whether he takes or not because it doesn't come with a check. And yeah, we could have taken plain knight g5 ideas after. The queen would have simply been more vulnerable on h4. So he plays, yeah, what most of the people would do on f6. Now, this is very important. So you want to remember, you push g6. And then no matter what he does, whether he pushes f6 or f5, because they'll try to do that, not allowing pawn takes and giving check and black loses right to castle. Now you have this very powerful combo because g6, the goal of that move is that it has weakened the e6 square. So in order to access that, well, you could still take and go knight f4, but that's not enough. So I think even better, you do g6, e4. These moves go very well together in the pawn storm. So, yeah. Simple threat, e d5, I mean, almost winning a pawn. Rook can come to e1. Knight can later on come on to f4. And, yeah. We're just going to be doing a little pool party on e6. It is currently pretty hot in Romania, so, yeah, we need a little bit of relaxation on the e6 square. So, yeah, I don't know. Probably my opponent, if he's living in Chile, could say the same, but he also needs to back it up with a move. So otherwise, I won't believe it. Okay, b4. So you start getting the knight now. First instinct would be just to move away. Yeah, like knight e2, which is probably fine. Probably just very good. But okay, you wanna get into this habit of also looking for counterattack. So okay, he plays b4. Can I counterattack? Ed takes on c3, takes on c6, takes on b2. Let's say we go king b1, using that b2 as an umbrella pawn. His knight is attacked, so maybe like knight f8. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that working like rook e1. Definitely pretty interesting. So we could do that to open up the position. ed5, probably just a fine move, because we get access to e6. Now, this works, but it gives him time to play knight b6. And we don't get to infiltrate that fast. So I think it's time to step on the gas and play ed5. And okay, this is also very logical to enter these kind of complications because we are the side that is better developed. So my opponent's king is still in the middle. So opponent king in the middle, you want to open up the position. And cb2, yeah, as I told you, we can just do king b1. And our king is just like really the safest king that there could possibly be. So don't take the pawn because he could have checked. But now, yeah, black would really wish that he could lose the pawn on b2 somehow, just to get some sort of activity. And now he's just in this position where we're threatening to take. The knight moves, but remember what I told you. We play g6, weakening e6. Time to bring your pieces to the pool party. Pool party on e6. Everybody is invited. So, yeah. Gonna do that. Very hard for him to defend. And the problem for black is even if he tries to like last minute castle, yeah, it just, there should be some kind of attack. Like if our queen reaches h5, that would be a checkmate. Not so easy to reach h5 square, but maybe on castle. Okay, obviously there is rook takes on e6, just taking the pawn. But I'm probably wondering, I think queen b3 may be even quicker attack. Threatening to take on e6 with a check, yeah? Okay, so what is this? Queen b3? And if bishop f4, for instance, there's queen e6 check. King h8, knight f4. Yeah, threatening queen f5 and then queen h5. No, that has to be it. On the other hand, rook e6 also very powerful. So rook e6 is threatening same queen f5, queen h5. Let's calculate. So rook e6, he trades bishops most likely. And then he plays like knight d5, I'd imagine. Okay, how is that? So I cannot do queen f5 because of knight c3 check. And then he wins my rook and the king is exposed. So we cannot allow that. Oh boy. Big move time. Yeah, so here, takes, knight d5. Oh, maybe, do we have queen b3 simply? Oh man, that's evil. If that works, that's actually evil. Okay, I think that's it. So probably, yeah, I cannot really decide, but I'm just gonna play the simple move. Rook e6, just wanna do this and takes, knight d5. And yeah, we're gonna go and we're gonna skewer the life out of him. Okay, rook e6. Rook is entering the jacuzzi, just chilling in his backyard. Big frat. Takes, just recap. Simple move. No need for anything fancy there. Also, yeah. Okay, bishop e4. So, why can't we just go for it? That's the question. So, if queen f5, I guess this is the answer. Defending with the X-rays, offering queen trade. Also, yeah. Okay, bishop before I don't see the immediate refutation. Oh, I know what it is. And it's actually genius. Okay, you guys can pause the video. Think about it for a little bit. But I think we start like this. Oh no, never mind. Queen b3 can still do queen d5. Oh, then bishop c7 may be completely winning. Queen b3, a b3, knight d5. That's actually somehow not so simple. Wait a minute. This has to lose for him. According to all rules of chess. This has to just be bad. So yeah, I got excited because I saw queen b3, knight d5, and then rook d6 idea with mate incoming, but yeah, it's queen b3, queen d5. So no, probably there's bishop c7 in the position to deflect the queen. Because after queen c7, there is either queen b3, then king h8, but also bishop c7, queen f5 with queen h5, and I don't think he can defend. It's like takes, queen f5, knight c4, queen h5. And if there are, okay, there is like one check on a3, king b2, knight c4, and then what? I have king b3, knight a5 check, king a4. Yeah, and we hide. Okay, so this has to be it. But okay, I mean, it's just so random that you need to find so many moves. Okay, honestly, I may have been exaggerating, like d5 probably easy win, but just bishop c7 should do it tactically. Yeah, and now I want this with mate. So he usually won't be able to escape that. So I was considering knight c4 or something like that. Maybe this would be best try. Rook e8. Okay, so he tries what I was expecting. And now let's see if calculation worked out. Knight d2, I mean, it's easily refuted. And knight a3, I have king b2. Knight c4, king b3, knight a5, king a4. And no more checks. That was the genius plan. But yeah, okay, let's see. The point is, well, with pawn on g6 and rook cutting him, there's just no way to stop this, so I can afford to give up the bishop just to stop those like queen d5 ideas, so I can access this square and play for the mate. But yeah, it wasn't actually as easy to dodge the perpetual as it looks, because king b2, knight c4, if you go king a1, he has bishop c3, and you get mated. So it was actually pretty easy to get mated in that. So you need to do king b3. Yeah, okay, we're gonna go for that line. Yeah, so everything seems bad. Only move, knight d2 we have rook takes, and knight a5 we can hide on a4, which is rather unusual. That was the point. So, yeah. Okay, this is honestly ended up being a bit complicated. I had to use that advanced tactic, which I'm still not super sure it's sound. But yeah, I think if we were just playing d5, when I mentioned it should have been a very easy win. But okay, I couldn't really resist a stupid sacrifice. You know me. You guys know what to expect. Just some silly unsolved sacrifice, and my opponent resigned. Okay, let's have a look. So I'm guessing that um, Rook F8 was the best defense for him. But let's see. So apparently... Okay, Bishop C7. Wow, we got the brilliant. So D5, second best move. I mean, clearly white is dominating the whole board. Black doesn't really have any active counterplay because after knight a4, bishop d2 stops all the interesting ideas and black is just cooked. But yeah, I saw this. And yeah, I knew there is queen b3 idea as well, but I mean, I didn't find that to be as winning. Maybe it was. Ah, I see what it is, yeah. Okay, so queen b3, I thought it's mainly playing for rook e8, but that was not it. The point is queen b3 is threatening rook e5 and then rook h5. Wow, okay, so queen b3, I was thinking like maybe a5. No, that's not what I was thinking. I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, no, this is good. It's okay, threatening to win queen and also threatening mate on the h file. I went for the second most promising move, and yeah, he had to play rook e8, but it's still like lost after strong move knight f4. And it's just that, okay, black is not having enough to defend. But okay, still, this wasn't super obvious how to win. Knight d5 is critical move, which it's not very easy to understand, but basically you have millions pawns for the piece and attack, and your king is super safe on b1. So knight c4, yeah, okay, it allowed queen h5, and then we had this nice key move, king a4, and no more perpetual. But yeah, okay, all in all, ended up being pretty instructive game, I hope. It's just, yeah, my opponent was completely busted out of the opening, and he's not in time to defend. Because queen e7, well, there is simple move, queen b3, pressuring e6, but apparently the computer finds the insane knight g5. Jeez, look at that. Wow, so many tricks. I actually didn't see this during the game. Because takes, and the queen is trapped. Because queen f8 allows rook e6, and black is losing the house here because there are no squares. Wow, look at these pawns. Prisoners. Prisoneering the enemy king. And prisoning the enemy king. Like, oh man, like in composition. Jeez. Wow, that's actually a bonus attack. Queen e7. Knight g5. Wow. Okay, that's honestly pretty sick. I should make this position in one of the exercises in my upcoming course. This is a new motif. I wasn't aware of it. Okay, bishop c7. Pretty nice idea. It's, yeah, you just tend to kind of find these things because you clearly know that there's something wrong with black's position. You just need to look for what it is, yeah. The hardest problem in game is to like figure out when it's a puzzle. But here, yeah, intuition was telling me there must be something good. So, because enemy king is so weak and bishop is loose on b4, that, okay, that had to be it. So, yeah, hope you guys like this. And with that being said, we can move on to the following game. All right, everybody, long time no rapid chess. So, getting ourselves a nice little opponent from Thailand. All right, here we go. Gonna open it up with d4, and of course, gonna be going for the Jobava London because it's really kind of what I've been dedicating my life to recently. So if it would have been legal to marry an opening, I wouldn't really have a very difficult time to choose. I don't know about you. And I'm here to share my knowledge for this lovely opening with you. And my opponent plays the what it's called the triangle Slav in general. Against the Jobava London, it's not really a thing, but people in low elo still play it. So it's important to know how to deal with it. As a rule of thumb, we start with e3, bishop d3, knight f3. And what it is important to notice is that already my opponent has made a big concession. Can you guess what that is? Can you guess why the position is already a bit difficult for black? Because by going for this e6 move, basically he's trapping that bishop inside the pawn chain. And I like to call this, it's giving him the light square prisoner. So it's going to be very difficult for him to activate that bishop. And after bishop d6, first key moment of the game. Because I told you, you just do bishop d3, knight f3. And it's important to start with the bishop. Usually, I feel like it's creating a very healthy habit um, for many reasons. But to sum it up, in some lines, imagine the knight is pinned. You still have options to do this later. Or, I mean, this is just nicer in other positions, stopping a potential knight that can come to e4. So generally, just always do bishop d3, and we let them take. Because that allows what I like to call the boa snake. Or the double f pawn. You call it what you want. And my opponent plays a very sensible move, which I'm honestly impressed. He goes b6, signaling that he's looking to exchange his bad bishop, which is honestly the only way for him to equalize against the boa snake. Okay, never mind. He just combined with b6 with knight to d7. So I guess we're off to a normal track again. And we already have a choice. So, as I was saying, in the boa structure, we are better as long as we keep bishops on the board. Because this bishop is just locked inside the pawn chain. But I mean, shout out to my opponent, almost Michael Scofield. He was one move away from finding the right idea, but he didn't. And now he's looking to do c5. Potentially being very annoying to my bishop. So for that reason, it's crucial to not autopilot with castling, but do knight e2 instead. So that on c5, we're able to play c3 and we're keeping this lovely bishop on d2, which is going to be our main attacking asset. So c5 on the board, c3. And c4, now we have bishop to c2. Now you have a nice, little cave for the bishop on c2. The bishop can hibernate there for a while still pretty much being as attacking and as active as it can get. Opponent goes h6, we're just gonna castle. Now we just play normal moves. It was important to prioritize having this bishop. And then, okay, just play normal chess. Knight f6, and now this knight goes to g3. So knight maneuvers e2, g3, play c3. And later on, you will notice that this knight is actually incredibly useful also in a kingside attack. So, queen c7, targeting the pawn. Now, a lot of the newer players have kind of a hard time understanding this at first because they feel a little bit like a loosey-goosey with that pawn on f4. Like, isn't black able to easily attack it like he just did? Well, a lot of the times you have at the very least a move like pawn to g3 to defend. But even better here, I think knight e5. Also queen d2 could be played to defend, but knight e5, I think it's better. Just a bit of a multitasking move, because if he takes, then we get to make progress. Taking is something that happens pretty often, and it's really to our favor just because we get to undouble the pawns. But also, he could play around the knight for a little bit. I also consider this, analyzing the structure. Actually, in the last like more than a week, I've been analyzing this pawn structure like non-stop. What to do if he takes? What to do if he's in time with like a knight e4? What to do if he plays around the knight? So if he plays around the knight, rook e1, queen d2 are gonna be moves that we can play with f5, assuming he castles short. Also, interesting plan. Yeah, okay, so we'll do rook e1. And if he castles short, it's very interesting to do rook e3, knight h5. And then the rook goes to g3. And just by that, with a rook lift, um, yeah, it's almost checkmate. So, why? Well, because we have active bishop and he doesn't. But opponent does something clever and he castles on the other side. Now, you pause the video and try to find the drawback behind my opponent's last move. Because something that you need to get used to, especially as a beginner when you think chess and you want to make a move, but also when opponent does it, you gotta consider more the drawback of your move. So, what do I mean by that? King on e8, defend f7. Now, castling, king is safe, but he no longer defends f7. So just because you try to understand the drawback of your opponent's move, you can easily spot, okay, call it a tactic if you want. It's not really a tactic, but you can call it. I'll give you the pass. So there you go. Take the fork, just like that. I mean, we just did the proper piece placement. If he castles short, we get crushing attack. He castle long because he pooped his pants. And yeah, now we just get easy win against 1600. Or at least hopefully. Yeah, we'll see if we manage to convert. So queen f4. We're going to be basically getting an exchange, and then it's important to just start doing risk management. So that's a free pawn. We start by taking it. And now we're just going to be desperately trying to queen trade. Okay. Knight g4. Threatening to take that pawn. Well, I have just told you a second ago that you want to go for a queen trade. Now, knowing this, you just combine two ideas because he's attacking f2 and you want a queen trade. Then queen f3, it's a move that just plays itself. So, not really giving him much of an option. Like trading queens already similar to resignation, just because all the endgames are gonna be very straightforward. And yeah, when he tries to keep queens, we should be able to still blackmail him with that. Yeah. Maybe go queen f5. Say, okay, opponent, you gotta take this, or I gotta release the pictures that I found with you from college. So you guys all knows those prom pics when puberty just kicks in. Okay, sometimes puberty never ends, so you never know. But queen h5 looks like it's gonna end my opponent's attempt to keep queens on the board. And that is, well, normally gonna lead to a straightforward win. Direct in g7, maybe bishop f5, maybe rook e7, maybe bring the rook. Rook here and rook e8, I mean. So far, so good. Okay, so that's a free pawn. But he's attacking f2, so you want to keep that on the agenda. Can I just play f3? So notice that I'm trying to defend f2, but I'm not going to play rook f1. Like, sure, I could, but the first thing that I'm trying to do while calculating this, I'm looking for a defense, but also that gains time. So if you watch a bunch of actually high-level games, or yeah, let's say strong games in general, you notice that everything is very forcing. It's like you watch a soccer match between like, let's say, Real Madrid or a very good team against some guys from Romania or some like other country that doesn't have very good football. So you see, like, the professionals are always much more fit and much faster. similar in chess, right? Like you don't want to just go rook f1 and then fall asleep while you're playing chess. No, you want to play f3. You want to keep up the momentum with every move that you make. So just by having this kind of indicator in your brain that, okay, everything that I do must have a concrete goal. Otherwise, it's probably not the best move. But okay, I mean, in general, it's very easy if you spend a bit of time. Yeah, that's also the tricky part. Because if you spend at least 15, 20 seconds each move to think, then you have good chances of finding such concrete, strong move. But other players just play in a second, even though, yeah, it's rapid or stuff like that. So, very important time management as well. It takes a little bit of discipline, but without it, yeah, it doesn't matter. You study and love chess a lot if you don't discipline yourself during the game. So, okay, knight f6, I could have traded, but I'm just gonna scoop up the free pawn, and then I'm gonna look forward to bring the last piece into the game. And oh my god! Pause the video because my opponent just stepped into something. Okay, well, that's a very nice move to convert. Okay, I hope you paused the video. I'm about to reveal the answer because we're gonna go bang, rook f6. Now the point is, the drawback with his last move, coming back to this drawback concept, is that now we have knight e8, but also, in case you would have taken with the knight, the king is poorly placed because he's going to be sitting on a fork. So takes with the rook, knight e8. Okay, we're not winning material, but it was a nice combo to simplify. So just going to be taking the rook on the next move. And then, okay, it's very easy. Rook has to come on the only open file. This is a very simple move to find. Now it's time to push the pawns. So these are our free pawns. Okay, passed pawns you can call them. Free pawns if you prefer that. Now just push. And time to bring your king after. I can also do bishop f5. Like still blackmail him with trades. Yeah, I'm gonna do it just for the sake of it to show how instructive it is. Because if he keeps bishops, you will notice one of the main drawbacks for my opponent that tries to complicate the matters. He has to concede critical squares. e6, use that, infiltrate. These guys are going to be hanging. If the knight moves also, this guy is going to be hanging. So, okay, now you have a buffet of pawns. I can also do that and try to take, but yeah. Okay, also looking maybe to simplify, but that's, yeah, not a good move of chess. Could also look for ways to bring my king. And yeah, probably easiest, you see something that wins a pawn, you go for it if there are no tricks. So just gonna be going for that. I was just a little bit overthinking with this decision. And okay, generally in chess it's better to overthink than not to think. Just throwing that out there. For those of you that like to make moves, I'm just gonna sidestep, check, then plan is to bring my king. Also, I could look for rook e6 to give a check and keep his pieces under alert. Okay, opponent thinking, probably about to do this. Now, okay, just going for trades. I see pieces on the same diagonal. I see bishop check. So I'm gonna do that. Not necessarily that it was best move, but it's easiest to simplify. He wants this, so I'm not gonna go king f2, right? Remember, it's fine, but you wanna get into the habit of defending with a tempo. So d5, attacking the bishop. Bishop there. Bang! Forcing move, rook e7. I'm not pushing. I'm attacking and then I'm pushing. Could also be taking free pawn. So d6, king f8 he does. And I don't have d7 right away. But okay, I think healthy habit right now. His king is cut. Just gonna bring the king. King f8, we defend the rook. We bring the king, we teleport it to f6, and then we push d7 and we promote. So that should be pretty clean. And that's why you take this type of extra material into the end game. Because you see that my opponent genuinely, I mean, he can do whatever at this point. He's just not even having the slightest chance of a comeback, yeah? King goes to f6 and push. Pretty straightforward, I think. Yeah, okay. He's trying to do some sort of last minute shenanigans, but just gonna listen to my own advice here. I'm giving f3 at this point just because already the material advantage is overwhelming. Okay, I'm gonna take back. You don't wanna like fully ignore your opponent's ideas. Also, rook c7 is an idea. Try to win the bishop. But I'm gonna keep it simple and recapture. If b3, I'm just gonna freeze the whole side. Although taking is also winning. And yeah, bishop f3, d7, about to promote. Yeah, a4. I could start like this if I want to be giga precise. I could also play d7, and yeah, I'm just gonna keep it simple. Rook c7 was more precise, but this is easier. Threatening mate in 1, by the way, which is not a bad thing in general. Threatening mate in 1 again. Side steps, and I'm just gonna go ahead and target some of these pawns. My instinct would be here. He's gonna try a3, which is a good try. ba, bc, but he's just gonna be too slow. And also, yeah, okay, b3. And just freeze. Pick them up one by one. You can do that. In general, I highly recommend you take all of his pawns if you have the time, and that's easy. I'm just gonna take and promote here. So yeah, he resigned. Okay, this felt pretty accurate overall. I don't know. I'm gonna pop in a game review. Once we got the queen trades, that was honestly pretty straightforward. So yeah. Wait, apparently I was worse from the opening. Chess.com, are you on drugs? Ah, yes, chess.com is on drugs because chess.com sees queen b6 move and thinks, oh, maybe black wins a pawn. But yeah, taking such pawns usually not worth it. Like in general, white is getting very good compensation. Ignore this evaluation; it's a bad computer. It's just you go knight g3, rook e1, f5, and imagine it's like move 10. He only developed a queen. So we actually had, I believe, games like this in the Jobava speedrun. One of the previous videos with this idea where black wins a pawn, but because of the bad bishop, white is always having the easier time. So yeah, all right, all right, all right, all right. 95, very straightforward. Okay, like of course, blundering was terrible by him, but castling also. There is f5. There's also rook e3, knight h5 idea. With rook g3, which is really one of my favorite ways to unleash the attack. So yeah, what I love about these positions is that you have so many plans to just really squeeze the life out of your opponent with a boa snake. So yeah, keep these ideas in mind, and with that being said, I think we can move on to the following game. Alright everybody, back with another game facing Mr. Rabbit. Well, we'll see how he plays if he sticks to the nickname. Gonna be going for the Jobava London. He's around like 1700, kind of where we are at right now, and he goes for the Fianchero. All right, now the thing with the Fianchero is that basically we're no longer gonna be able to play a Jobava London. We'll have to play something different. Okay, it's just gonna be a Pirk. I will explain it. I just want you to clearly understand that the Jobava London ideas only apply after d5, so white has to make this pawn push in the center, d5, and then we get the bishop. But usually when they avoid it, it's bad for black because we're able to, first of all, get a lead in the center. So we control all this juicy space. And more so, the fianchetto setups can actually be met with bishop e3, queen e2, long castle, and then go for like a quick attack. Okay, in the past on the channel, I showed you the little exploit. So you can go bishop f4, bishop g7, and then e5, which is leading to a lot of quick free wins. I will link one of those videos in the description if you want to check it after this one. But I'll teach you how to beat this by the book. So queen d2, long castle. That's first things first. Knight g4 not so scary because of bishop g5, and already castling, it's how 70-80% of the players do this online. This is already a mistake. The only sort of playable line for black is to go c6, bishop h6, and then just take and play with the king in the middle. Try to do some sort of e5. But castling, it's just too vulnerable to an attack. So castling long. You could also play f3, but knight g4 is not a problem because of bishop g5 simply. So that shouldn't really scare you. And next up, yeah, we can just do f3. Okay, on knight bd7. Also e5 could be interesting option because he cannot take twice due to the pin. But e5, I think it just has knight g4 or some sort. So I think simple move f3. So we go f3 and plan is bishop h6 and then push. Now, it's a matter of whether he goes e5 or c5 or a6. Yeah. Actually, c5, I don't think it was a move because it's losing a pawn after dc. If dc, notice how we can simply go bishop captures on c5, exploiting the pin along the d file. And e5, well, usually can simply be met by d5, and black is really unable to ever play c6 because you take, and then the weakness of the d6 square, I mean, you can just pick up the pawn. So e5, you play d5, and then idea is to do something like g4, h4, h5, and slowly attack. It's pretty much a worse version of the King's Indian for black because they're like unable to really get any attack against our king. But on a6, yeah, bishop h6, I think. If e5, same d5. If b5, yeah, his attack is too slow. So we go h4. If b4, he can just move the knight away. And very important to notice, by the way, I noticed common mistake beginners make in this structure. For some reason, it's difficult for the beginners to pick this up, but they play bishop d3, knight d2. So no, this structure, you don't need to move these pieces at all, just because you don't really have such amazing squares for the pieces. And you can just do this construction. It's actually pretty funny that you can completely ignore these guys, go h5 and just focus on the checkmate. And you can just win without moving those pieces. So very important concept while you're playing this. You have to stop your, let's say, monkey instinct of developing those pieces because you're doing more harm than good. You're wasting precious time. And h5 already giving a poison pawn. Okay, he goes a4. He doesn't take poison pawn. Please feel free to pause the video and try to find the winning move for white in case of knight takes on h5, which is a very common mistake. You can actually go rook takes on h5, pawn takes on h5, and then queen g5. And there's just like no way to defend g7, and that's just literally mate on the board. And he plays a4. Now, there are a few ways to approach this. A common mistake would be to, let's say, take on g7 and then just pick up of what it looks to be a free pawn. Well, in this position, you have to understand that it's opposite castlings, meaning it's all about who gets the quicker attack. It's not about the material, it's not about anything like that. It's all about who mates first. So in fact, if you do that such thing, take on b4, it can even be to black's benefit because it's gonna get rook, direct contact with your king. You know, it's like you give your email to some sort of strange newsletter and they keep spamming you. That's what the rook is gonna be doing on b8. Just gonna spam me with countless offers that I don't want. So I'm just gonna go now for standard procedure, which is open up the file, trade bishops, bring the queen. That is um, let's say, second part of the plan. The first plan was to go f3, queen d2, bishop h6, long castle. Now, second part of the plan is to open up the file and bring the queen. And finally, we're entering the phase where third part of the plan is, okay, we need to pressure on h7. So the knight is basically the only bodyguard of h7. Honestly, without trying to do any insulting, it's a pretty low-cost bodyguard on f6. It's like bodyguard that's kind of sleeping instead of, protecting. So you have a very strong move. Pause the video and find the key idea for white. I'll give you a pass. I'll give you 2 moves. But strongest move, e5. Yeah, e5. Getting rid of this. Additionally, if you are thinking knight h3, knight g5, that's also reasonable, but e5 even stronger. So this is just textbook play right now because we're exploiting the pin, and this is just incredibly common. This happens in really so many games. And on b3 also, you don't want to forget about b8 too, because your opponent may get a really hilarious touchdown with a queen. So as a rule of thumb, you want to remember this. So a3 is fine, but generally the safest, just to completely lock things up, you take with a c-pawn and then you play a3. Which is a bit weird, but this way both of these files are blocked. And he has no way to our king. And now because he realized if the knight moves away, he would have gotten mated. Also, if he plays knight h5, there is g4. So the knight will have to move and then we pick up h7. So he just completely given up on the idea of saving that knight. So I think we can take it. I'm saying takes. I'm just double checking to be sure, but yeah, should be fine. And then ideally, I would love to do something like knight f4, knight takes on g6. Are we in time? So knight f4, cd4 he'll play. Knight g6, he's going to have queen c7 check. You need to watch out for that as well. So yeah, maybe we need to try to stop it in a way. So knight f4 takes. I can do bishop c4 check first. He can play d5. And then maybe I have knight takes on d5, yeah? Because he cannot take because the knight is pinned towards h7. And after knight takes on d5, yeah, we're also getting rid of his knight, so this is very strong, yeah? Okay, check this out. So knight f4, this I think check is critical. Otherwise, yeah, it's simply knight g6 is looming. He has to do something, so yeah, check. Oops. King h8 allows a horse mate. The horse may stink, but it can mate. Yeah, after d5, this was the point, yeah, deflecting. So he cannot take because queen h7. So yeah, now this is massive threat and just way too many things looming. And this is just textbook play. Okay, this guy is 1700. You can easily beat somebody that's like 2000, 2200 like this just because the pirk is bad. Okay. If the horse stinks, the pirk stinks even more. So yeah, just takes. Now, pause the video. Forced checkmate into. Come on, do you need more than like 5 seconds to find this? You have to exploit the pin. So don't go greedy. Oh, damn, my arrows are not on point today, but just take, exploit the pin, and that is made. So yeah, just thanks everybody for making it this point in the video. And if you're looking to learn more about this opening, make sure to click on this video. That video. Okay, bye.